Incannex is a clinical stage pharmaceutical company developing proprietary medicinal cannabinoid drugs and psychedelic medicine therapies. With 28 distinct research and development programs and 6 clinical trials underway, the company is leveraging its strong IP to address unmet treatment needs. And with me is Joel Latham, the managing director and CEO of Incannex. And let's start with the beginning of the quarter. I mean, in January, you announced the start of a phase 2 clinical trial assessing IHL-675A. So explain that drug and talk to us about the clinical trials. Where does that stand right now?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Jane. It's good to be able to talk again. And it was an exciting start to the year with the launch of our phase 2 study for IHL-675A. So this unique drug asset targets rheumatoid arthritis as well as additional inflammatory conditions. But this trial's focus on rheumatoid arthritis. It's a phase 2 study with 4 arms, a total of 128 patients, and it's running across 10 trial sites in Australia. So the primary endpoint is to change pain and function compared to baseline. And the secondary endpoints are change in fatigue, quality of life, inflammatory biomarkers, and structural damage, which will be measured through MRI scans. So to get us to this point, we've been able to deliver a plethora of positive data, and we're pleased to be able to have this into a larger scale phase 2 clinical trial now.
So when do you think there'll be a data readout for this?
So we're actively recruiting now. Patients are being dosed. We'd expect to provide further updates to the market over the coming months. But this is being fast-tracked as soon as practically possible, given how confident we are in this asset, because it has been de-risked by many sets of positive data results previously.
Now, this is one of several drugs that is using the cannabinoid. Explain, like, why is that important? What does that particular compound, why does that look promising and have potential?
Yeah, so there's a lot of existing research showing the benefits of utilizing cannabinoids. We've decided to take that to the next level. So we've decided to combine cannabinoids with other specific generic drug partners to achieve enhanced research outcomes. So our overarching goal is not only to maximize value for shareholders, but make real and long-lasting changes in the lives of patients suffering from indications that have limited or no treatment options available. So we hypothesize by combining cannabinoids and using other specific generic partners, we would see the drugs act synergistically and have a super additive effect, which we've been able to demonstrate across all of our programs, and we've been able to achieve far greater outcomes than either of the standalone drugs.
And then also in February, Clarion clinics in Australia, which Incannex supports, secured Australian approval to prescribe MDMA in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. So explain that. This is a psychedelic, right? So talk about that. What are you seeing with that? And what are the clinical trials for that?
Yeah, it's an exciting time for the sector, and thankfully, whilst we're a Nasdaq listed company, we have operations here in Australia, and we've been able to take advantage of the changing regulatory framework. So the TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Administration, are leading the way globally in relation to the downscheduling of MDMA and psilocybin. That has afforded us with the opportunity to open a clinic. So we've opened Clarion Clinics, which is a psychedelic assisted psychotherapy clinic, one of the first of its kind, and we continue to set the gold standard in the sector. So it's a great opportunity for us to be able to treat patients, continue to generate real world data, implement key learnings throughout the rest of our business. And more importantly, we're able to generate non-dilutionary capital, which will then in turn fund the development of our other novel clinical assets.
Now, what are the next steps then? And will this be tested in the US?
So next steps for Clarion Clinics will be to continue to de-risk that business model. We'd expect to open various other clinics around Australia in due course once we've proven the concept, which is exciting. But we've also got various other items going on in the psychedelic sector, and that particularly relates to our Psi-GAD program. So this was a recent phase 2 study that we completed targeting generalized anxiety disorder. So we utilized psilocybin in combination with psychotherapy. So I'm pleased to report we delivered overwhelmingly positive phase 2 results, and we're quite enthused with how these results stack up to some of our peers, particularly to some of our peers in the psychedelic sector, particularly when you look at our valuation compared to theirs. We believe that there's a clear disparity between where we're trading at compared to some of our peers, particularly given how we've de-risked this asset and many of our other cannabinoid assets. So next steps, we're scaling into filing our IND and commencing pivotal phase 2 studies, which we expect to commence towards the back end of this year.
Yeah. Interesting. There's some really interesting research going on in psychedelics. So, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how all that unfolds in the coming years. Now, Incannex Healthcare just recently completed its redomiciliation to the US in November of 2023. How are investors reacting to that? How are they supporting the company? And particularly as we head toward the next quarter, what's next for the company?
Yeah, so it was a long process to be able to re-domicile the company to the US. So extremely pleased to have that completed now, and allows us to focus our attention and our resources on developing our unique and novel assets. So the broader US community have the story has resonated. The feedback's been quite positive, given how unique the story is and the upside potential we have in our assets and the milestones we have coming up over the next 2 years to be able to really provide some key catalysts to move the needle on the dial and drive value. So story's been received well. We need to continue to work hard, continue to deliver news flow like we did in a busy first quarter, and continue to gain buy-in from the broader US market.
And how can investors learn more about Incannex?
Please visit our website, www.incannex.com. And also please feel free to reach out to our admin email account, which is admin@incannex.com.au.
Okay, Joel, thank you so much for bringing us up to date on what Incannex is doing.
Thank you, Jane.